Now to the latest developments. This is after U.S. prosecutors in Minnesota announced charges against 15 people that they say conspired to, quote, violently oppose immigration law enforcement. Now, this is despite U.S. Attorney Daniel Rosen failing to describe a single example of injuries to federal agents when he was repeatedly questioned.
And this is new video of one of them getting arrested. This is in South Minneapolis from yesterday. You can see federal agents in their tactical gear leading a man into a black SUV while protesters shouted down to them. That's as they lead him out right there. Department of Justice claims he and 14 others were part of an Antifa conspiracy to block and hurt ICE agents.
And this morning, our Barrett Leone is live at the federal courthouse with the very latest on these cases, including Barrett hearing from one of these defendants.
Yeah, that defendant is calling these charges politically motivated. He was one of 12 who made their first appearance in court yesterday. Federal prosecutors say that this is a result of a months-long investigation. Now, 15 people are facing federal charges connected to anti-ICE protests here in Minnesota. Those charges include conspiracy to impede or injure federal officers, assault on a federal officer, interstate stalking, destruction of government property, and more. Outside the federal courthouse Tuesday, supporters gathered throughout the afternoon as 12 of the 15 defendants made their first appearances before a judge. All 12 who appeared in court were released pending future hearings. We spoke with one defendant who called the evidence against him flimsy.
And there was 12 armed men with assault rifles pointed at me, demanding that I surrender or basically be shot. This is what they will do, and they won't go away if we become quiet or become docile. That's when they start to take control again. That's when they start to make moves again. We need to get loud, we need to get into the streets, and we need to resist them.
At a news conference Tuesday announcing the charges, U.S. Attorney Daniel Rosen pointed to a statement Kennedy made online describing the burning of Minneapolis's 3rd precinct as, quote, the happiest moment of my life. In another post, he wrote, quote, you will never win with nonviolence. Kennedy denied allegations. Investigators said defendants were charged not for what they said, but what they did.
Today's announcement is the result of a thorough and months-long investigation into a deeply concerning trend: coordinated violence targeting federal law enforcement officers and facilities.
And U.S. Attorney for Minnesota Daniel Rosen, he made multiple references to violence by these people charged. However, when asked specific questions about how many agents were injured or specific injuries, he did not give any examples. Now, coming up in the next half hour, we're going to hear from a defense attorney who plans to challenge this in court.
All right, our Barrett Leone live this morning at the federal courthouse. Thank you. Now, we will have continuing coverage throughout the morning on these new charges. Plus, what is Antifa? You heard Barrett say it there. Is it a label, an idea, a terrorist organization? We're going to take a closer look coming up in our next half hour.
6:05 is your time, and the convicted ringleader in the nation's largest pandemic fraud scheme wants a new trial. A judge sentenced Amy Bach last month to more than 40 years for leading Feeding Our Future, that scheme. On Tuesday, Bach filed a notice that she's appealing both the sentence and her conviction. Prosecutors say the group stole $250 million by pretending to feed hungry children. More than 70 people have been charged in the scheme.
A man now faces several felony charges. This is after an hours-long standoff near Eat Street. So fugitives holed up in an apartment in Minneapolis. This was last Tuesday, and he started shooting at law enforcement. 2 girls in the next-door apartment safely escaped, and so did a 3-year-old who was inside the apartment when this shooting started. Tyler O'Brien is now facing 21 felonies. Now, charges against him say he shot through the door towards the deputies directly outside, and then they say he fired multiple volleys in their direction. Some of those rounds hit the ground near them, the armored vehicles, and at least 1 squad car. Standoff lasted 8 hours before negotiators were able to end it. Thankfully, nobody was hurt.
Now to the live desk, Maria Listignoli joins us. Maria, you're continuing to follow President Trump and the G7 summit. This deal with Iran. Today's the last day.
Yeah, that's right. The final day today in France at the G7 summit for President Trump. He's scheduled to hold a press conference later this morning, 2 days before the scheduled signing of the U.S.-Iran peace agreement. The president posed for a picture with world leaders at the G7 summit as he sold the U.S.-Iran agreement as a positive step forward. The text of the deal to end the war has not been made public, with an in-person signing scheduled for Friday in Switzerland. It's drawing criticism from some Democratic lawmakers. Even some Republicans are reserving judgment.
I just have one basic question, which is If this deal is so good, why can't the public see
I think
it?
we'd all like to see the terms of the memorandum and hopefully end up with a real deal.
President Trump is directing his critiques at Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu after Israel attacked Beirut, targeting Iran-backed Hezbollah fighters just as the agreement was finalized. Netanyahu is vowing to keep forces in southern Lebanon as long as needed, saying the struggle has not ended. Iran says their presence violates the U.S.-Iran deal to end the war. Today at the G7, President Trump is going to sit down with leaders of Egypt and India.
So we have the conflict with Iran, but then these regional conflicts as well.
Absolutely. Still lots to work out here. All right, Maria, thank you for that update. And we are also learning new details about a plot to attack officials who are attending the UFC fights on the White House grounds over the weekend.
Court documents say 5 people involved in the plot have been arrested so far. Authorities say more arrests are likely, and there are at least 19 people who had been discussing the plan to kill White House officials up to and including President Trump. Those discussions were allegedly held on the messaging app Signal. The court documents say the plot began to unravel last week when the mother of an alleged planner tipped off police. She said her son had bought $3,000 worth of weapons.
Happening today, the man accused of murdering a Minnesota healthcare CEO is headed to court. This is after a mistake postponed his hearing yesterday. Luigi Mangione is charged with killing United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson. This was back in December of 2024. So Mangione was supposed to be in a New York courtroom on Tuesday, but the prosecutors did not send the paperwork to the jail. His state and federal trials are scheduled to begin this fall.